Hello and welcome back to Chat About. This edition is all about my top 10 video games of all time. And I'm quite boring. I don't like the shoot 'em ups and murder games and all that kind of stuff. So these are, well, the games that... Shit, I thought I'd been shot then. It was their fly trap. Talking about games. Anyway, these are the games that I like the most over the years, ranging from the first computer I had, which was a ZX81, which was a 1K piece of crap made by Sinclair, but it was all there was. It was the peak of technology at its time. Anyway, I'll tell you what the computer platforms were and what the games were, and show you a little brief bit of the game. So, my first most popular game was on a ZX81. And back in the day, you loaded all the games on a cassette tape and it took bloody ages. Or you typed them in from a magazine, typed in all the basic code, saved it on tape and then loaded it, and it would get corrupt and not work 90% of the time. But there was a game, various types of it came out, called Bomber, which was great fun. So this is Bomber. And very, very basic. It wasn't even any sound. You just fly over the top of the buildings, press the space bar and it drops a bomb or shoots a gun, and you destroy the buildings till you flatten the city and you can land. That's it. Very basic. My next most favourite game was a game called Chucky Egg, which at the time I had on the Amstrad CPC464 platform game, and the idea is, as you can see, you run around and you collect all the eggs and avoid the ducks or ducklings or geese or whatever the heck they are chasing you around. And that was it. Very, very basic. Then they released, which is my third most popular game, Chucky Egg 2, which was the same kind of idea, except it was more of an adventure. So it wasn't just levels with platforms in. There was all types of things you had to do, but still very, very basic, but very good. Then they released on the 464, still on the Amstrad 464, a wonderful game called Lemmings, which is still about today. And the idea is you control these group of suicidal lemmings to try and escape. Some of them blow themselves up. There's diggers, climbers, all types. And as you can see, on the 464 it was quite basic. My fifth favourite game was also Lemmings, but by now the Amiga, the wonderful Commodore Amiga, had been released, which was a spectacular computer in its day, and still would be if Commodore marketed it properly. I firmly believe that the PC wouldn't exist if Commodore had marketed and managed the Amiga brand properly. But anyway, they then released the Lemmings on that, and as you can see, the graphics are far, far, far better. So that was one of my favourite games. Then came a great game called Ports of Call, which was all about shipping, really. You had to buy ships, trade goods, steer the ships into ports, sell the ships, sell the goods, buy more ships, and alright, sounds boring, it probably was. But hey, it kept me entertained for hours. Now, I've always loved flying, and I eventually got rid of the Amiga because they stopped producing games for it because they went bust. And I bought a PC, and I bought Flight Sim version 2, which, as you can see, was, well, so basic it was unreal. But back in the day, it was, everybody thought it was brilliant. So that's Flight Sim. Then, on the PC, a good few years later, and obviously on higher spec machines, came a game that I spent hours and hours and hours and hours of my life on. And it was called Joint Operations. Now, there have been different incarnations of it, but they were all good. And the graphics weren't as good as the likes of some of the modern games, Call of Duty and things like that. But the gameplay was so much better. You could have infinite maps and design your own maps and play against people online. It was brilliant. Then we had an Oculus, which is one of these gadgets you stick on your head and you see in 3D. And I've got to say, there was a lot of spectacular games on there, a lot of very good stuff, but none of it was very captivating, didn't keep you interested very long. Apart from this game, which was called Ultra Wings, which is a game where you have to fly between different islands and do different tasks, land on different places and shoot balloons down and all kinds. And I'll tell you what, didn't that make you feel sick if you had sometimes? These days, of course, a lot of people play the games on their mobile phones, and my favourite game at the moment is no exception. It's played on the Android, and I think it's available on Apple as well. And it's called Royal Match, and it's a game where you match things and blow up things with bubbles, you know, falling bubbles and stuff. But it is very good, and it keeps you entertained for hours upon hours. Of course, you can buy a lot of power-ups and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but you can play it without that. So it's a free game essentially, and I don't think it has adverts in it, which a lot of Android games do. So anyway, that's it, my 10 favourite games of all time. Why not let me know what your favourite games are or have been. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and what else has you got to do? Oh, and also don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Thank you. Until next time, take care.